Well, hello there and welcome. I'm Cindy Daychuk with Queen Bee Creations, and we are going to be getting up to another project. If you like different crafts, different projects, furniture refinishing, thrift flips, new decor ideas, then I invite you to subscribe. Keep us coming at you. I am posting videos at least Fridays and Mondays. Probably I could have said that Mondays and Fridays. That made a little more sense. But twice a week for sure. And sometimes more, depending upon how busy I get in the shop, or, you know, if it's kind of crazy, then it's two. Two are guaranteed. Today, we're doing something a little different and a little bit nerve-wracking for me because it requires me to do some drawing. And, you know, not the best drawer in the world. But what I do have, and what we're going to be using as a basis, is this old picture. This is not a hand painting. So before anybody freaks and says, get it checked, it is not a great frame. It is wood. It is old. This is like a print. It doesn't have brush marks or anything. So don't think that I'm destroying something that is, that I should not be destroying. And because it requires drawing, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to turn out. So, you know, one of the things for me is you see what I'm doing. So if I'm making mistakes, I'm sharing the mistakes with you, so that you can learn from my mistakes as well. Typically, this is the first time that I've ever done any of these projects. So you get a good idea of how you're going to be able to do it. Because really, if it turns out for me, it'll turn out for you. The first thing that I want to do for this frame, though, is I want to make it a little bit more gold. We're going to distress back to the gold. So I just want it to show up a little bit better. This is kind of a really old, aged kind of gold. So what I am using is Golden Ticket by DIY, which I carry here in the shop, queenbeecreationshome.com. Or you can check the DIY page for your local distributor. The nice thing about this is it's got a built-in sealer. So when I go to paint over top, it's already sealed. And when I go to distress, then I'm going to be distressing down to this gold. But we're going to be painting this gold and then painting the whole thing. And that's kind of our background prep work more than anything else. So this is just laying the foundation for creating our new picture. And again, because I'm not great at drawing, this is definitely something that you could replicate, but I guess it depends on how it turns out as to whether or not you even want to do that. So I'm just going to get this frame, the outside frame, I'm just going to get this outside frame painted gold. I'm going to leave it to dry, and then I'll come back at you for the next step, which is laying our base foundation down. Our frame is all dry now, and really it dries quite quickly, so that wasn't a long wait for me. I mean, it's instantaneous for you, but it wasn't a long wait for me. The next step is we are going to paint the entire thing, frame and print here, in a coat of white. So first coat is just going to be plain white. I'm of course using beadboard from DIY, and I'm just going to get everything coated in white for a first coat. Second coat will come back together because I'll explain a little bit more of the process, but really at this stage, just slap your first coat on there. My first coat is dried, and I am adding a second coat of white, pull this down even further, over the entire project. So I have it around all of the frame, and I do want to put a full coat of white over the inside where the print was. Well, I guess it still is where the print is. We're just hiding it. But I do want to add a little bit of a second coat. Now, we are going to be attempting, this is the royal we, I'm taking you along with me on this one. That way, if I really mess it up, somehow it's not my fault, it's somebody in the we group. All right, what I am going to attempt is we're gonna be doing a ballerina in this. Yeah. So, I do want to have a little bit of pink. So I have just a tiny bit of petticoat pink from DIY in here. And I'm just going to kind of softly blend it in to my white paint. I don't want it to be pink. I don't want it to be harsh. And I just want it to be kind of roughly centered, sort of where the ballerina is going to go. It's old, I've got some lumps in it. Okay, take those out. So we're just kind of blending it into that white paint, adding just kind of that softness in the middle. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. It doesn't look like it's showing up on my screen here, but let me see. There, I think you can kind of see the two tones. It's just kind of light. There's still kind of the white edging around the outside of the print. All right, so I'm gonna let the whole thing dry and then come back at you for the next steps in the process. Big hair, there we go, little brush hair in the middle. All right, so let's let this dry and then we'll come back. See you soon. All right, before we seal this piece and move on to the next step, I wanted to just do a little wet distressing on the frame. We put that gold down, and now I'm just looking to bring some of it back. So I want to do a little wet distressing, bring back a little bit of that gold on some of the details around here. And we've got the soft pink. We're gonna do a ballerina. I'm gonna zhuzh this up, make it a little bit pretty. So I'm going to just simply rub back, and you can see here where it just brings a little bit of that gold detailing out. And then I am going to seal it with just one quick coat of the DIY Big Top. We're gonna be doing some transfers, and you know what? They like a slick surface. They like that best. So, because I'm gonna do some different stuff with it for me. I don't wanna make it any harder than I need to, so I'm going with what they like. So if I struggle with anything, it's the design element and the little bit of drawing and what that means. So I'm just gonna carry on with distressing this, and then I'll put on my Big Top, and then once it's dry, we'll be back. Okay, my sealer is all dry, it's sealed. You can kind of see just like that faint impression of that pink in the center, which is all that I was looking for. Now here's our next steps. I downloaded just a rough picture of a ballerina. Obviously that doesn't fit. I need bigger and all this kind of stuff. But I needed a guide because I'm not really good at drawing. And I'm not going to be drawing out the full body. So what I did do is I have a piece of brown chalk because I'm thinking it'll wipe off of this. So I don't want to have all these mistakes and lines all over. But I want to have the vague image of her and how she goes before I start doing any of the project. So I'm thinking, and guys, here's where it gets tense because I'm really not a major drawer here. But I'm thinking if I kind of do a curving arm and an arm out here, and then the other one coming down here. Yeah, there's my ballerina. I'm just looking at the rough idea of her, right? So that I have an idea. Mostly I want to have an idea of skirt, right? So I'm just need rough ideas, because here's what I'm gonna do. I have a copy of the Winter Song wreath. Now you could use the one in the tube. So the one in the tube just has the wreath, and then you could cut apart the wreath. But the one in the pad, which is what I have, has these corner sections. So I figure I can use those corner sections on this and still have the wreath. So that's what I'm doing. And what I wanted is to do the ballerina just kind of in black and white. I mean, this is a paintable transfer, so I can go in and add some translucent color to it, right? Like it shows on the back that you can paint it if you'd like. So I have some flexibility. In my head, I'm thinking just using it as it is, but I am looking at doing like the skirt. So I want to cut all those 4 corners off so I see what I've got to work with. But I want to do at least the skirt in this. Dropping things all over. But I don't know if I'll be able to do like the arms and the rest of the body with it too. Like I'm thinking that may be possible. If not, those are lines that I'll draw. But I don't know. You're kind of seeing it come together right now. So the nice thing about the flowers, and I'm looking to see if all these corners are exactly the same. They are, they just go in different directions. Okay, so I want to start then with one of these big flowers, and I'm gonna cut away some of the extra stuff so that I could add it in elsewhere or later as needed. And that's the cool thing about these, is that you still get to be able to layer them however you like. Okay, so I am thinking kind of layering this out. Okay, that might be the start. Heading down there. This is the scary part. This is the scary part. The laying of the first one. So this is start of her skirt. Okay, I'm going for it. So, do I want the fatter one up by her waist? No, I want. Okay, I'm doing the skinny blossom up by her waist. And because I sealed this, it should come off pretty easy. Okay, so if you can kind of see the outline of her skirt, you see this is kind of the line of the leg. The skirt's going to come across here, and then I'll have a foot, I guess. So I'm just looking at kind of filling this in with those. I'm just guessing. Oh my goodness, I do this to you guys all the time. We're going, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just faking it. But I'm sure you guys have projects that you're looking at that you're saying, you know, you might be reluctant to try because you're thinking it might not work, in which case then you can just reflect on me and say, well, if Cindy can do it, If Cindy can do it, anybody could do that. All right. Now, I'm debating doing another large flower coming right out there. And maybe if I slide this under where my other flower is, I don't know, we'll see. So I kind of slid some of that white paper underneath to kind of mask off where my other flower was. It should work. Okay, so you can see that I still have some of that flour on there, and I kind of overlapped them without muddying it up too much. But that kind of allows me to take this piece and just fill it in right here. Actually, that kind of goes in quite nicely right there. All right, so I'm cutting off petals and all kinds of other stuff to just kind of make this look possibly like it's a leg coming down. All right, so maybe I'll lay out my little pieces first just to see if they look weird or if they look doable. All right, what would be an arm? I need a head. All right. I'm going to show you. I've kind of pieced roughly my pieces out. It's looking vaguely like a dancer, all from little pieces of this. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna stick them down. We're gonna see how it looks. I still have to find another foot for her, but I kind of have the arch, I kind of have the flower head. We'll see. So I'm just going to slowly work at attaching these components, and then we'll see what y'all think. Well, we'll also see what I think. Okay, here we go. This is one leg, one toe on point, made with a flower bud. Sometimes I wonder why I think of these things. Okay, we're gonna try. We're gonna try. All right, that's my skirt filler. This is my whole stomach line. Okay, so one of the things that I have been doing is taking some of my little pieces that I have left over and kind of filling in a little bit around the body and that kind of stuff. I still have one full corner left, a big flower from the other corner. I used 2 corners, the big flowers from the corners, and I've got a bunch of little pieces that I don't think that I'm going to need. This is what she looks like. So what do you think? If I didn't tell you that I was going for a ballerina, could you see? I mean, I kind of see the lines, like the legs. This is the other leg. There. Kind of the lines work. Anyway, let me know what you think. I lost some audio during this section, so I thought that I would just pop on and let you know that I took my Tombow, T-O-N-B-O-W, paint pens. So these are water-based paint pens. It's got a pointy end on one and then an actual paint brush on the other. And I decided to add a little bit of color. You can see me taking the soft pink, just outlining the bottom edge of the petals, and then using the wet cloth, I'm using a baby wipe, to just kind of brush that color up, because I just wanted soft tones rather than really harsh lines or anything. I just wanted a little bit of that shading. So I went around and did the big flowers with the pink pen, a couple of small flowers. I used a really pale yellow, and then went in with a really, really soft green to do some of the leaves. I did decide to add pale green and a very pale yellow on these buds and just tiny little flowers just to set it off. So these are the three colors that I used. In Tombow, it's 803, 192, and 090, but it's just a very pale, soft pink, soft green, soft yellow, just so that again, from a distance, I think it just kind of highlights it and sets it off just that little bit more. Okay, I'm loving this more now. Yeah, it needed that little pop of color. So let me know what you think. Definitely a different use for the transfers, and certainly for the wreath transfer, and definitely different from where I thought I was going with it. Sometimes these things just morph halfway through a project. Let me know if that's happened to you, where you started, where you ended up. But definitely let me know what you think of this one. And thanks for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you for the next one. Take care.